Hey guys, what's up? So in my last video, which was my collective Sephora haul video, I did tease the fact that I had a story time coming. This is going to be my second time filming this story time video, as I didn't state in the last video, but I meant to. My video in Final Cut Pro decided it didn't want to render for any reason, like any other video would render, but that video wouldn't. So I just decided to scrap the whole thing and refilm it because that would probably be the best course of action. And so today's video is going to be a story time on how I got my homophobic boss fired. Alright, so let's start at the very beginning. So obviously I applied at a store because that's how you get a job and have a boss. So I applied at this store and the store manager had an interview with me and decided that they wanted to hire me on. When I had applied to the store, I didn't realize that the position I had applied for was a management position. I kind of just applied for anything because at the time I was really looking for a job, so I was just taking anything I could. And he was the first person to call me back. So I went to the interview and I started talking to him, and he was interviewing me for a management position, which gave me like the shock of a lifetime because I had never had any sort of management experience. I didn't have any sort of management anything in any job I had ever worked before, so this was like a first for me. He was just like, how would you like to be a manager? And I was like, what? So I got hired on as like a shift manager, basically. It would be like the easiest way to equate it. I got trained on very minimal things. Like he trained me on how to basically just how to close the store, count the deposit, and that was it. Like he basically taught me like what I needed to know in order to be able to close the store, like to not fuck shit up. Like that was basically all he taught me. Like he barely let me stock any of the big freight that would come in. He would always only have me ever do totes or anything like that. So it was always just kind of crazy that he wouldn't ever let me do much other than just close the store, run the register, and totes. Like that was pretty much the gist of what I did for a few months. Now, he didn't even train me on how to open the store or anything like that. I didn't even think I could because I figured that like that was a store manager or an assistant manager sort of thing. That wasn't like a shift manager thing. That wasn't my job. I didn't think that that was in my power or anything like that. So I just never even asked to be trained because I figured there's no point if I'm not the person that's supposed to be doing that. So a few months go by and it's kind of the same situation like I just explained to you, where I'm closing, I'm doing all of the money work, I'm doing all of that, and it's just kind of like a very repetitive, sort of consistent thing. However, in a couple of months after starting, my assistant store manager had a stroke. Like, a stroke. Like, he was out for the count, like, and he ended up having to leave the job, actually, because of the stroke. Like, it seriously inebriated him. I don't know if that was the right word to use, but I'm just gonna go with it. And so since he was gone, we needed a new assistant manager. So a new assistant manager from another store of the same chain came over to my store and decided that they just wanted, guess they didn't decide they wanted to work because they came over to work. I guess that is a decision to make, but I don't really know. I don't know why I said that. This assistant manager who actually came in to work and replaced the assistant manager who had a stroke, they ended up actually dating, weirdly enough. And the reason that's weird is because she is like 32 and he's like 58. It's kind of weird, kind of gross. It was always a joke among everyone else. Like, everybody would always be like, I wonder if her kids call him daddy. I'm sure she called him daddy. But this new ASM was actually not a bad person. I kind of clicked really well with her. She and I got along, and she started shedding light on some of the things that the store manager, who we're getting back to, the store manager, the homophobic boss, who the store manager would say, like, about me or about any of the other employees. Like, for example, one of our other female cashiers was in the office with us at night, and a new policy change happened while I was working there, that the cashier wasn't supposed to be in the office with the manager at night while counting the money. They're supposed to be out on the sales floor sweeping or doing whatever they need to do. And the store manager legit referred to her as, I don't want that fat, stupid bitch sitting in my office. Yeah, I'm just gonna let that sink in. But then he started saying things about me as well. And so, like, he would say things to the new assistant manager, being like, well, I think Jacob's sick, and that's because of his lifestyle. And if he opens himself up to God, he will be cured. The holy revelation. But, I mean, none of us bought that, so... And then one of the things that really got me, that was a kicker, was the fact that he was trying to get the district manager to allow him to implement a ban on me carrying my handbags to the store. I spend money on my bags, I like my handbags, and I will carry them whether you like them or not. The reason why this was an issue about him trying to ban the bag is the fact that the assistant manager asked him, like, well, are you gonna ban me from carrying a bag because I have one? And he's like, no, it's okay. You're a girl. And so when he said this, she like fumingly like blew up and was just like, okay, well, no. And she told me about this and I was like, okay, well, this is starting to get a little scary. What do we need to do? She gives me the ethics hotline for our company and she's just like, well, if you would like, you can report him for a hostile work environment and then they will have to corporate legally has to launch an investigation. And so I did that because the straw that really broke the camel's back was one night I had noticed that the schedule was weird because on a day that I had requested off, I was scheduled to be working. Now the schedule is really weird because it's a weekly thing, so like he pulled down the week that we were on. So he pulled down the week we were on, put the new week up that was the following week where this week was, and then the next week out was like 3 weeks out, if that makes sense, like if you get what I'm saying. And I noticed that I was supposed to be working on a day that I thought was the next week, but turns out it was scheduled for 2 or 3 weeks out. And I texted the manager, I was just like, hey, I can't work this shift. I requested it off. I told you about this. I can't do this. He never ended up responding to my text message, so I sent him another one right before close, basically being like, hey, I left you a note about the schedule. I told you I can't work that day, so I left you a note. Hopefully you can figure something out. He calls me literally blowing 7 gaskets, like literally 7, and like freaking out, literally just being like, I don't know why the hell you're texting me so much, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the fucking schedule, you'll see that the dates are for 3 weeks out and whatever, and I was like, well, why'd you pull the schedule down and change them? And he's like, well, because they change tomorrow, so I figured I would just do it now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I hung up the phone, called the new assistant manager right away, told her about what happened, going about it in a very aggressive, you faggot, you stupid little faggot sort of way. Like, that was basically the tone of his voice, I could tell. I don't like that word, but... And so we ended up calling the ethics hotline, all of the employees in the store, and so we reported him for the hostile work environment. The district manager did end up launching an investigation, finding out that the assistant manager was how we got the resources to be able to report the store manager for what he was doing. So both investigations ended up settling, and long story short, the store manager ended up having his hand forcibly resigned. I came in 3 days later and I found out from the assistant manager that the store manager had been fired and resigned. Well, resigned and fired are two different things, but it's basically the same thing. And now I still work at this company. I'm an assistant manager now, and I'm so happy because I just recently got that promotion, which is why my uploading's been a little crazy. But I'm so excited because now I'm an assistant manager and he works at customer service in Best Buy. Yeah, I went to Best Buy the other day to look at vinyl, and yeah, I literally saw him working in customer service, so whatever. Be a bigot. Alright guys, so that was my story time on how I got my homophobic boss fired. My camera battery's dying, so I have to race it with this intro. It's gonna be really quick, so please leave a like down below if you actually like this video. Make sure to subscribe for more from me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys! I hate the fact that my battery's dying.